Two for one. Two for one. I got a little sidetracked this morning talking about something, but I forgot to give an update on how the flight did. So I'll give that update. Um, so on my way, oh, that was him. On my way back to work, typically what happens on field leadership exercise is at do lunch or whatever and just continue for the afternoon. But we don't really have much today besides flex, and then we have our 75th anniversary combat dining out in the afternoon slash evening, early evening. So getting ready for that. I was supposed to bring some water guns. I didn't buy any, so I'll have to go do that at some point. Hopefully they sell water guns on the base. We'll see. If not, in the South, there's a Dollar General, Dollar Tree, Dollar, or Family Dollar on every corner. Literally. Sometimes they right next to each other. Back to back to back. So we'll be good. But yeah, so at the end of last week, the flight, they ended up winning the last place award. And so this week, they had mixed success on their previous experientials. And so they also ended up finishing in last place. But since then, I could see like something in their eyes. It's like a flame has been lit because they won it twice in a row. The first time, they were like, whatever. But the second time, they won it by 1 point. And honestly, it's so the distance between last place and second place was just 6 points. So it's very neck and neck within the entire squadron. There's like 9 flights that make up a squadron, and so they were 9 of 9. But between ninth place and second place, they were only separated by 6 points. And so they could legitimately make up a lot of room depending on how they do this coming week. And so thus far, we've already had one experiential, and then they also had their flex today. And so they ended up winning both of their games of flex. And flex, it's good to win, but it's better to have a higher score. Thank you for the thumbs up, Carlo. It's good to win, but it's better to like run the score up on your opponent. And so I told them, I said, hey, look, if y'all are winning, don't take your foot off the gas. We run the score up here. Think, what's his name? Gosh, I forgot the guy's name. Florida, University of Florida. Darwin Ablay says, hey, what is that guy's name? He coached in the pros for a little bit. He coached the Washington Redskins. I can't remember his name. It's not Bobby Bowden, but I think he used to run the score up too. But anyway, run the score up, guys. Do not take your foot off the gas. And if it's a close game, stall as much as possible. How do you stall? So they have what's called a planning period. And a planning period is 1 minute. And so this guy's driving in 2 lanes. Oh my gosh. Carlos says hi. And Mahdi Kasimi says hi. And so I hope I said that right. But anyway, told them to run the score up. The first game, they ran the score up pretty decently. I think they won no, they didn't. They didn't win by a lot. The first game. It was 33-26. So they barely won. And then the next game, I didn't even check the score, honestly. But they won. And so it's good for them to have good results, but if you want to catch up, you got to hope their opponents have bad results. Carlos says turtle. Darwin Ablay says, sir, are you speak Tagalog? I do not. I wish I did speak Tagalog. What made you ask that question, Darwin Able? Don't tell me I look like I could be Filipino. Don't say that. They say my kids look like they could be Filipino. One of my boys. Let me see if I got a picture of him. But let me not get distracted. So this is a picture of the guys and girls after they, demonstrated prowess on the field leadership exercise. They were feeling really good, and then we had an indoor experiential called time-sensitive targeting. And time-sensitive targeting is where you have a bunch of different tables. They can only whisper, and you have a bunch of different elements. So you have the Joint Force Commander, you have the Combined, don't get me the line, the Combined Air CFAC. I should know these things. Thank you, Makti. Is that Arabic? I remember the H is like catches in your throat. So that's how I tried to pronounce it. But anyway, they did pretty good during the time sensitive targeting. They had the answer. So it's a 45-minute planning session and 25 minutes to actually execute. Let me roll these windows up. And so their international officer, the South Korean guy, he took over planning. He was being very polite, and now I can tell that he's comfortable, but he's a natural leader. I can see it in him. This guy is probably, I feel like I should take my picture with him, because I feel like he's going to be a military leader in the South Korean Air Force, like a high up leader. And I just want to be like, I taught him, y'all. I taught him everything you know. No, I didn't teach him everything. He came here very sharp. But he took control. He said, all right, guys, I'm going to be the timekeeper and I'm going to be the planner. And so he came there with a strong plan. He made some decisions, but he heard his teammates. And like some decisions, he was kind of going the wrong way. But he listened to his teammates and they allowed them to steer him back in the right way. And they ended up with a great plan. And so sometimes plans don't mean a lot if you don't execute. So they got to the execution stage, and at 16 minutes, so it was 25 minutes, when they had 16 minutes remaining, so just 9 minutes into their planning, they started answering questions, like important questions. And so I'm like, shoot, they're gonna finish really quickly. But they got nervous because time-sensitive targeting involves like loss of human life. And like if you do the wrong thing, people are not actually dying there, but it's simulated. And so they thought very carefully because their priority has always been safety. And so they're always like very cautious. So they ended up finishing and answering the question correctly with only 2 seconds to go. When they had a portion of the answer 9 minutes into the exercise. So the rest of the 16 minutes, they spent like double and triple checking, making sure it was right. They, in fact, were the only flight to successfully complete the mission within the time. So that got them 4 points. And the rest of the people, so you lose points if you use the wrong ordinance. And you lose points I think you may lose points if you don't do anything. But if you abort the mission, you don't lose points. And so there was a bunch of people that ended up aborting the mission. So they just scored zeros. And then a lot of those people that scored zeros on that experiential, today, there was quite a few that didn't win a game in flex. And then there was only one other flight that won both of their games. And so right now, just kind of forecasting, they're doing pretty good. They might be doing the best so far, but just because they're doing the best this week doesn't mean they'll go to first place. But there is an award to recognize their achievements, and that's called the Raging Bull. And so this was what I made for him. I like to use ChatGPT. Y'all know that if y'all been here before. So their B27. I made that. I said, you guys are stampeding through the rest of the bulls. So I gotta put this down because I'm about to go through the gate. So excuse me, guys. But then today I invited them to lunch. So what you may didn't know is my wife she's like a fourth Korean. And so we got a South Korean student. She said, I want to make him feel like home because he's been away from home for a while. So let me give him something to remind him of home. Hey, all right, how you doing? Good. You too. Stay legal. And so, yeah. So she made some food for the guy. She made some bulgogi. She made some